welcome to No Stipulations with your pals, Brendan. That's the other guy, and I'm Logan. And I really need to get better at these intros because we are here to talk about wrestling at No Stipulations. And Brendan, please say something. I'm drowning here.
I'm your life preserver. I'm here to save you, so you do not drown. Blah 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 blah.
I'm already gone. It wasn't your fault.
But we're about 2 weeks from WrestleMania, or
Yeah, we're
we're about
recording
1 week
this.
from
Yeah,
Mania. We are 1 week
recording
from
this.
WrestleMania. We are recording this on the 10th.
Yeah, April 10th, which is 10 days from night two.
Yes, and of course, WrestleMania card isn't all complete yet, but we are here with you to go on with this journey through wrestling last week. And Logan, take us through SmackDown in Chicago.
Yeah, Smackdown, April 4th, Chicago, coming back from the overseas trip, which many were expecting to see happen, is CM Punk opening this show. The static hits. We get the Punk cam. He walks out all the way. Says, I've been hearing about international shows, but nobody does it better than Chicago. And of course, he thanks AJ. He says, thank my wife April, and blah, 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 this, that, these, and those. She's not going to be happy with me for saying her name. But you know who isn't going to care is my puppy, Larry. But then, you know what? I love how much he loves Larry, but God, that's an ugly dog.
It is very ugly. I do have to admit.
It is. It's not pretty at all. But Paul Heyman comes out. He says, "I want to know what your favorite is, since we're such good chums." But Punk says, "I'll tell you later tonight, but only the tribal chief arrives."
After that, we have Ray Phoenix's debut. Waiting for him in the ring is Nathan Frazier, and Ray Phoenix wins off of a Mexican muscle buster, and afterwards is interviewed by Byron Saxton, and of which Byron asks him how he feels to finally wrestle in a WWE ring. And I couldn't get all of the promo because there's that little bit of uh dialect issue. I couldn't
Right.
necessarily understand what he was saying, but he sounded very excited to be in WWE, and we're very, very happy to have him.
Yeah. Nathan Frazier was a perfect opponent for him.
It really was. And to give Frazier reps in, like, on one of the top two brands is also very good as well.
Yeah, definitely, because Frazier is him and Axiom. Axiom had that match in Spain against Gunther. So not only does it kind of further fuel their joking will they won't they break up in NXT, it's showing like the national crowd who doesn't watch NXT just how good these guys are. And Nathan Frazier is whew,
He is very, very good at wrestling.
one when we get Fraxium versus the Lucha Bros one day. Oh my god.
Mm.
I cannot wait. But yeah, I kind of pulled this up. Eventually, Ray starts talking in Spanish. He thanks Chicago. Says he's got a lot of history in Chicago. Tonight's not the debut of Ray Phoenix. Tonight is so much more. Tonight I'm rewarded with love, passion, with rage. And he's waited his whole life to say this. I am WWE Animal, which is the part in the beginning of his intro, which many people joked that it sounded like the beginning of Logan Paul's intro with the but I don't know.
Well,
I love
we know Def
like
Rebel likes to change their music a lot. I wouldn't be surprised
yeah.
if they change it.
I gotta tell you, with Phoenix, the MMB, I liked it, but I was surprised that the driver wasn't his finisher, fireman driver.
Oh, really?
Yeah, unless Tess got backwards, the fireman driver, it might just be the fire driver. Um, But yeah, he and Penta both have their drivers. So I guess they're gonna go with the Muscle Buster to be his finisher. But I guess that's interesting. Nathan also kind of tripped on that suicide dive to the outside, or he either jumped too far. But I am glad that they're both okay. Um, what else was I about to say? Frazier. Oh yeah, I like that they don't have Phoenix and Penta on the same brand right away.
That's something I also like. I feel like they need to get their shine individually before they kind of team up in the future.
Yeah, we've also seen what Triple H will do with Latino wrestlers on the same brand. Because next up, we've got Legado del Fantasma with Santos Escobar. Berto says, I'm better than Ray, after Santos says, you should be more like that guy. Santos, he likes the passion, but he's going to go talk to Aldis to get a match between Phoenix and Berto set for the future.
And next we have a Drew McIntyre segment. He talks directly to Damian Priest, telling him that he would be nothing without his failures, and he questions his integrity, all with an eye patch covering his eye, which of course had glass go into it after, what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think it was last week.
But yeah, there was that
You know,
controversy about whether it was real glass or not.
yeah. This actually still isn't an official Mania match.
Wait, it hasn't been confirmed yet? I think they're going face to face on SmackDown
Well, yeah, but
this
that doesn't
Friday.
mean they haven't confirmed a match yet.
Oh, well,
I just
yeah, that is weird.
yeah, it's funny to me because this is one of the longest burning ones, and it just hasn't been confirmed yet. I don't know. But after that, we get Braun Strowman says it tonight. I finished Jacob, and I get closer to becoming a Grand Slam champion because the winner of this match gets a United States title shot at WrestleMania. Solo walks in, says, Braun, you're going to be the one who's finished. Knight intervenes before skirmish starts, and he tells Braun, keep your eyes on the prize. Tama goes, yeah, 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 yeah. And LA says, yeah, before he heads to the ring, because he has a match with Tama Tonga right after this.
Yeah, and nothing much happened really during this match or afterwards. It was very simple. LA Knight versus Tama Tonga. LA wins with the BFT 1, 2, 3. LA gets the win.
Easy as can be. After that, we have Paul Heyman going out, and he's literally walking. He's looking into the camera. He's like, "No matter what your favor is, Punk, my answer is yes. Now please just tell me." And then he goes to the car that's rolling into the arena, and he's like, "My tribal chief, finally you've arrived!" And out steps Seth freaking Rollins, and Seth says, "Yeah, I also want to know this favor, so I'm gonna just go out there when Big Chief comes out." And then we get an Aleister Black tease. And then.
Next, we have Charlotte Flair going face to face with Tiffany Stratton, and it seems like Tiffy kind of got her get back a little bit.
If that's what you want to call this, Charlotte just sank in this promo. The crowd was against her the whole time. Charlotte, Tiffany said it, biggest battle with always be with the fans. They were not letting her talk at all. And then she went to mocking Tiffany. She's like, "What is that? What?" Like, this was an ugly setup. This was an ugly promo. But God, the ending.
Jeez Louise. Nothing beats Tiffy with prep time.
Yeah. She says, "You ain't the queen of shit." Um, she calls her a Nepo baby. Charlotte says, "Nepo queen, number one Nepo baby." Oh my God. Tiffany then talked about Charlotte. She may have 13 championships, but she's 0 for 3 in marriages.
Oh my
Uh,
god.
and then, what did she say to Tiffany as she ran out of the ring?
She said 0-3, baby. Woo!
No. It's what Charlotte said to Tiffany.
I think she was like, Tiffy, where are you going? As she
No.
was
That
about to
yeah,
strangle
it's about.
her.
I was talking about Kaiser being in her DMs.
Oh, yeah. Uh,
Is that why Kaiser's in my DMs?
yes.
Nobody believed that.
And then you had Kaiser responding on social media
Don't
with
flatter
the
yourself.
Shawn Michaels clip.
Kaiser, I read this on Twitter. I can't remember from who. It was Kaiser is the first wrestler to turn babyface in a program that had nothing to do with him. He's gonna get cheered by the crowds now. This is just hilarious. Honestly, I read this tweet also. I said Ludwig Kaiser is the first man to be accused of cheating and have nobody think he actually did it. And of course, nothing against Charlotte Flair, but Tiffany Stratton's closer to our age. And you know what? I'm gonna stop there before I dig us a ditch to die in. They're both beautiful women, but Tiffany's closer to us in age.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Man, nothing beats Tiffy with prep time. We talked about it 2 weeks ago.
yeah, you literally texted me. I actually wasn't watching SmackDown live because I was working. You said Tiffy is undefeated with prep time, and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
And then you saw it and you
And
were
then,
like, huh.
oh yeah, oh my god, this I saw. I don't think this was real, but I saw today somebody was like, "This is how the promo really should have gone," and it would have ended with Tiffany saying like, "13-time champ, but you also have 13 title losses." Doesn't sound like a queen of anything or something of that effect. They definitely went off script here.
Yeah, I feel like it started with Charlotte going off script the first time, and then Tiffy went off the second time, and now, like, good lord, I can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah, definitely. After that, it's announced that we're gonna have a tag gauntlet match between SmackDown teams from both Raw and SmackDown. The winners are gonna take on Liv and Raquel at WrestleMania. Now, walk with me here, Brendan.
Yes.
What if the Wyatt Six, Alexa and Nikki, take someone out like the last entrant in the gauntlet before they actually enter the match, take their place, and that's how we get Alexa at WrestleMania.
I like it. Like a
I do think,
backstage attack, and then
yeah,
it looks like we're gonna be like a team short, and then the lights go out,
yeah. And then
and
we have
that's
that
when they make their
ding,
entrance.
ding,
But the
ding.
thing is it would, I don't know. The thing with the supernatural thing is that, you kind of have to still follow the tropes of face versus heel, and if you have them take out a team, then you're kind of setting them up to be heels.
What what if they take out somebody who is a heel?
That would be better.
Who's in that gauntlet match? Let's see. I'm sure I can find it
I know
on this
Natalia and
website.
Maxine are in it.
I'm excited to see that tag team.
The Secret Hervis are in it.
Secret Hervis. I know the Party Girls are in it. What else? This
Bailey
doesn't.
and Lyra as well.
They're probably gonna win, but I don't want them to because why?
Maybe Zoe and Shayna.
Yeah, they're in there. Gauntlet match. That's 4 out of 6. Here it is. Meechin and BFAB are the last team. So it's Caden Carter, Katana Chance, Lyra and Bailey, Zoe and Shayna, BFAB and Meechin, Secret Hervis, and Natalia and Maxine. Who would they take out?
PFC, count your blessings.
I don't know who they would take out here. I do wonder because I read somewhere that Uncle Howdy is going to is good to go. They're probably going to return on one of the shows after WrestleMania. SmackDown after Mania, I would imagine. Um, but on with this show.
Yeah, on with the show. We have a number one contenders match between DIY and the Motor City Machine Guns, and an exposed turnbuckle helped the Machine Guns become number one contenders.
Yeah, Champa tried to take off the turnbuckle pad and throw, I think it was Shelly, into the pad, but Champa runs towards one of the machine guns. He ducks. Champa goes like throat first into it and gets covered up for the win. After that, we go to Mellow Don't Miz and Pretty Deadly. I think it was Kit Wilson who called Miz the Leonardo DiCaprio of tag teams.
Yeah, of tag team wrestling.
Partners.
He basically tries to like mooch like a tag partner every like 2 years.
Yeah. Miz called him pretty useless. Hayes says, "Are you guys a tag team of the Chicago Bears?" Pretty Deadly says, "You have jokes too." the Marine 3, the Marine 4, and the Marine 5. And Miz says, at least the Marine was made. He says, how's your musical going? Pretty Deadly says, they just finished one about someone who has not been relevant in 10 years.
Dang.
Mello says, Pretty Deadly couldn't beat them on their best day. And then Miz says, we're Mello, don't Miz. And we are, him.
Shit.
And Mello's like, we're going to work on that.
Shit.
Look, I'm glad Mello's getting TV time, but there has to be another way.
You know the absolute cinema meme? You need to
This is
create
not that.
you need to create a template that says absolute shit.
No, there's one that just says ass.
I've seen that one. I have seen that one.
Let's see. Yeah, absolute cinema. Oh, there's also one of him just saying, this is ass. Here, I'm gonna send this to you. If I can find the thing. Yeah, there we go. I sent you the Google link. Good luck. Good luck opening that.
But next we have BFAB versus Naomi. Jade attacks...
BFAB Graps.
Yeah, BFAB Graps. We love it here. Jade attacks Naomi during her entrance, and a modified finisher gets Naomi the win despite the attack, and she calls out Jade again, and Cargill jumps her from behind. We get Mania for the two as Nick Aldis is tired of the shenanigans, and he confirms the match.
I'm so glad that these two are getting that match at Mania. They deserve it.
You know that this is the first
one since 2006.
Female non-title match.
Since 2006, because they had I think a Braun Panties match. But that doesn't count.
Yeah, so this is the first ever.
Yeah. Naomi's new finisher is a modified lung blower, I think, which works really well for this heel persona.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what it was called, so I just called it the modified finisher. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, modified lung blower. It was a good finisher. I'm glad. I'm so thankful that they didn't worsen her theme song.
Just keep her with the same theme. Don't slow it down or anything. Just keep the theme.
Yeah. After that, we get Damian Priest vignette. It's all but confirmed that this is going to be a match at WrestleMania. Says at Clash at the Castle, it should have been you and me. But your obsession with Punk came back, cost you the match. Money in the Bank, you tried to cash in, but your package cost you. At the Rumble in the Chamber, I eliminated you both from that. But afterwards, Drew attacked me like a coward at the Chamber. He calls Drew a hypocrite because you bitch and complain. You're a junkie. You get high off making jokes every week. And says, Drew, you are your villain. And your time to pray is now. Says, look for me in the middle of the ring, face to face and eye to eye. Because I want Drew to stop playing the victim and become his victim at WrestleMania. But I don't think they've made the graphic yet, but it is all but confirmed. And after this, we go to Kevin Owens walking out to the stage. And Nick Aldis said this is the hardest part of his job, but I had some news that an injury would potentially cost Kevin Owens the match. And from what it sounds like from Nick, that it could be the last injury of Kevin Owens' career. And KO comes out, says something to the effect of, I love this job, but I can't do it right now. And he's wrestled with this for like the last couple of months.
Absolute warrior, this guy.
Kevin Owens is forever one of the greats. And I mean, if his last match was against Sammy in Toronto,
it would be poetic. It really
poetic,
would.
Poetic, but tragic.
Yeah.
I want to see Kevin Owens back one day. When that guitar riff hits someday, a couple years or a year from now, it's going to be a beautiful day.
Mm-hmm.
But in the last few years, Kevin said he's learned to not take anything for granted, and he'll never take this for granted. He wants to say thank you. He's sorry, but thank you. Shakes Nick's hand, drops the microphone. But as he's about to go, Randy Orton's music hits. Orton walks down and he's confused. Kevin's standing on the ring apron. Orton walks up the steps and onto the ring apron. Both men look at each other. Randy says something that I think a lip reader said was something like, "Go get better, dude." And Kevin leaves as Orton gets into the ring. And apparently some fan called Owens still ass as he was leaving, and that's what caused KO to go up to the barricade like that.
Yeah, I hate it whenever fans do this BS. They act tough around wrestlers, and man, what they do might be predetermined. They can still whip your ass.
Yeah, definitely. I would not want to face Kevin Owens in an alley. But yeah, 40 years old, Kevin Steen. If this is the last time we see you, man, we're forever grateful for it.
He's got a Hall of
And we
Fame
know
career, that's for sure.
there's a good chance you'll never see this, but we here at No Stipulations, we thank you for everything you've done. We thank you for continuing to work the industry, to make it work, to make everything you got work, and to entertain the hell out of us every week.
Yes, thank you, KO.
But after that, Randy doesn't have a match for WrestleMania now, according to Nick Aldis. And then he RKO's Nick. And did you know he actually prepaid for this one last year?
Yeah, I did see that. He paid double the amount and he said this is for next time.
Yeah, this was next time. Because Nick looked at him, he's like, Randy, the fine was 50K. This is 100. He's like, oh, that one's for next time.
Smart man.
Next time came around. But after that,
We got the last man standing match. The winner gets a United States Championship match at WrestleMania, and Jacob would get the win. Surprisingly, he gets the win after multiple table spots and putting Braun through a table set up in the corner of the ring.
yeah, the ending was abrupt, but I also liked it because Braun got up after that. It was kind of both guys were killing each other, and Jacob just got the last gasp.
Yeah, it's kind of like whoever would stumble first, whoever
Right.
would miss
Because
first.
yeah, Braun was in the corner under the pieces of the table, so he just didn't beat the 10 count, and I liked that.
And
It
you
it
like this win
protects.
for Jacob because it sets up a program for him after Mania, right?
What kind of program are we talking?
With Solo.
Yes, I like that. I wouldn't be shocked if he actually somehow didn't win at WrestleMania.
Oh, really? You
I
think
mean
something
that
happens?
I think I'm pretty sure he's gonna win. I'll say that. I'll preface that with that. I am fairly confident Jacob Fatu is going to be the United States champion walking out of WrestleMania. However, like you said, setting up the program with Solo. What if Solo's jealousy gets in the way and prevents him from letting Jacob have the shine? And he actually DQs Jacob out of nowhere. Hmm?
I like the idea. I like the idea. I don't know.
I don't.
It depends
Yeah, I don't.
how long they want this feud to go on for because they could do a match at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I don't think that Jacob's gonna lose though.
Yeah,
But
he's not losing.
after that, they play another package about Cody and Cena on Raw. And then we go to the garage where Paul Heyman is waiting. Byron says, "Hey, when's Roman Reigns gonna arrive?" And Paul's like, "I don't know, Byron."
He mocks
But
him
we,
insultingly.
when is he try with he's gonna get I don't know. But we come back from commercial. Black SUV comes out. Roman and he walks past Paul. But this is the fastest Roman Reigns entrance I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, he completely brushes by Paul, and yeah,
Man was moving.
he was moving.
But he goes out there. Roman tells Chicago to acknowledge him. He says to Heyman, "Is he here?"
Yes, my tribal
Paul says,
chief.
"Yes, my tribal chief." CM Punk starts chanting. He says, "That's exactly who I'm talking about." He says, "Are you? Is he still talking about the favor?"
Yes, my
Paul,
tribal chief. We're gonna do a
please
thing
continue.
here.
Yeah, please continue to do that. Roman tells Chicago he doesn't know how they deal with him. He asks Heyman if she should share a secret with Chicago.
Yes, my tribal chief.
Roman says Punk would not be back in the main event if not for him. Blah, blah, blah. From the same city. They have to like him. They mean well, but they're not that smart. Punk's wrestled everyone, but he's never been in that main event, not until he was introduced to the OTC, the tribal chief. He says, "You hear your fans chanting for the OTC in your city? Come out and tell them what the favor is." But, oh, baby, it wasn't Punk. Seth's music hit, comes out with Seth Rollins. Seth comes out. Paul's shaking his head. And every time I see Paul and Seth interact, I think of that shot from Mania where he's like, "Sing the song, wise man."
I hate that song.
I hate that damn song. Paul might. I'm gonna tell this joke later. Seth says, "Hey, I'm in a much better place." In reality, it gives you two options: either you suffer, you get behind. Roman says, "You're untrustworthy." La la la. Punk comes out and he says, "The favor? What's the favor?" Punk says, "It's about friendship, about legacy." It goes back to Louisville, Kentucky, and they told Heyman that he doesn't belong and to fire Punk, but Paul said no. Blah blah blah. And eventually, we get to the point of Roman's wise man is going to be in Punk's corner at WrestleMania. He's going to force Roman out of his comfort zone and force him to deal with us. Roman, of course, laughs at that. He says, "That's the favor?" He says, he wouldn't do that even if I told him yes. He said, "Let this desperate fool down easily." And then Paul starts crying. He says, "Are you crying?" Then he says, "Tell him no." But Heyman says,
"No, my tribal chief, I can't do that."
and Seth, meanwhile, is busting out laughing. Roman grabs Heyman in the corner. Punk hits him from behind, hits him with the GTS, and that might be the best sell of Roman's career, honestly.
He looked like a Family Guy character laying
Yeah,
on the ring mat.
exactly. But Seth leaves the ring, cackling to himself, and that's how we close SmackDown in Chicago.
Yeah, and next we have Raw from Minneapolis, Minnesota on what month is this? Excuse me. January,
April.
February, March, April. I have to count like a toddler. April 7th, we have Pierce addressing the Women's World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania. Ooh.
Oh, baby.
Adam Pearce is in the ring and said last week he made a mistake in trusting the women in Rhea, Bianca, and Io to solve their problems in the ring, so he invites them down to join him. He mistakenly introduces Rhea as a member of the Judgment Day, of which commentary says he's very stressed. We'll give him a pass.
Yeah, something of that sort.
But at Mania, he says it will be a triple threat match. Rhea is understandably happy while Bianca is pissed, and Io is very indifferent as the champ. And
Dude, the crowd was booing Bianca. I don't get it here.
I don't know either. I think they were all just fans of Mommy. I don't know. But Bianca says a couple of weeks ago this would have set her over, and after fighting through the Elimination Chamber and watching her two friends try to kill each other, but she just doesn't care anymore, and she isn't scared of Rhea, saying she will beat her to win the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. Rhea is about to
And
speak, but Bianca tells her to shut up and sign the contract. Rhea signs and throws the contract back at Belair. Io is starting to talk, but Rhea shoves her out of the way. Understandably pissed, Io throws down the mic, leaves the ring, and hits a missile dropkick on Ripley, knocking her into Bianca. Just
yeah, and then she did that crazy thing with her hands. She's like, I love when she does that.
But she signs the contract, grabs her belt, and leaves the ring, ending the segment.
I feel like, you know what, I love Rhea, I do, but there shouldn't be a world where she walks out as champion.
She's not going to, don't worry about it.
You say that now. Um, after that, we actually get this, and we got this announcement on Twitter before the show ran. We're having an intercontinental fatal four-way. And this is like across the continents because we've got a Spanish man, we got a Hispanic man, we've got an Irishman, we've got Braun Breaker, wherever he's from, and then Dom, who is
Straight from the
also,
dumpster.
yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a fatal four-way at WrestleMania. And of course, we go back. Finn is like, "I'm pretty shocked that you were added to. I didn't know you wanted a shot at the title." Dom and Liv are excited that he was added to the match because now Judgment Day has 50-50 chance. Finn says this is your chance to prove you have what it takes to win at the grandest stage of all because he is. Did he wrestle a tag match with Ray at Mania? Like as a tag team together?
Hey, who are you talking about, Finn?
Ray and Dom. Because I know he's 0 for 2 in the last 2 WrestleManias. But I can't remember if he was on the
It
card
would have
when they were
been
a tag team.
38, right?
Let's see. WrestleMania 38. Uh, yes, they did have a match with Logan Paul and The Miz, I think. Was it The Miz? Because when Logan Paul was first coming into the industry, it was The Miz. They were a team. Yeah, it's Miz. Did they win this? Let's see. Ryan Dom versus Logan and The Miz. Let's see. Oh, great. I'm logged into my YouTube that doesn't have YouTube Premium. So I have to watch an ad for Novocaine, which is, I haven't seen it, but it looks good. I like
It
Jack
does look
Quaid.
good. It will always take its place in history on the ring
Yes.
mat of Elimination
Yeah.
Chamber.
Okay, Logan and Ray did win this. This was actually the match where Miz turned on Logan Paul. Logan was smiling like a dweeb as Miz put him in the skull crushing finale. This was, I think, this was before Logan was universally despised, but that has certainly changed over the last handful of years. I'll tell you what. But I think Dom is 0-3 at WrestleMania now, which was the point of that. But yeah, Finn says, people say you're not tough enough. You don't have the killer instinct. You're a loser. Finn says you can prove him wrong by beating Penta all by himself. And Dom looks a little worried, but Carlito says, I've got your back. Carlitos then, after that, he says, I went to the Mall of America earlier. He's like, yeah, that was good.
He's ADHD
But
like all of us.
he is. Um, but Dom has a match with Penta
Yes.
later
We got a
in this
women's
show.
IC title match next. When we come back from commercial, we get the first of our 2 title matches tonight. The finish of the match happened as Lyra dives off the top rope for a missile drop kick. Bayley picks her out of midair and applies a Boston Crab. It looks like Lyra will tap as Bayley drags her to the center of the ring. Lyra grabs Bayley's ankle to break the hold, and Bayley attempts the rose plant. Lyra rolls out and hits a jackknife pin to win the match, and after the match, it appears Bayley is a sore loser. She slaps Lyra's hand away after an attempted handshake and leaves. Bayley comes to her senses and gets back into the ring to hug Lyra, raise her hand, and sneakily glance at the title as she walks away. We will see this team again this or next week on Smackdown, however we want to word it, as they team up in a tag team gauntlet match to face the women's tag champions at WrestleMania.
Yeah, here's my thinking with this. There's no way they win this tag match because Bayley is still bitter. So she is going to turn on Lyra. I don't know if it's going to be a heel turn necessarily, but it's going to lead us to Bayley versus Lyra at WrestleMania. I'm hoping.
So who do you have winning the gauntlet match?
I'm hoping that the Wyatt Six appear, but of everybody in this match, I would have to say, logically, with the star power, it would be Lyra and Bayley. But, who was in this again? Team Gauntlet match. This will be airing actually the day we release this episode. It's Katana and Caden, Lyra and Bayley, Shayna and Zoe, BFAB and Michin, Alba and Piper, Natalia and Maxine. I wouldn't mind if the Secret Hervis won. I would like to see that match.
I would like Natty and Maxine to win, actually.
I would too. I just can't see that happening.
Natty wins another record or whatever.
I wouldn't I don't think I would complain about any of these teams winning. I think Shayna and Zoe are a darn good tag team. They're better when they're not with PFC because that just completely killed all of their momentum. I would be ecstatic if BFAB and Michin won. I don't think it's going to happen.
That would be another good one, but I think they deserve to stay in the mid card.
And I'm telling you.
And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing I'm saying.
Well, no, they're BFAB especially is still up and coming. She's learning and she's getting better every time. Same with Maxine, which is why I don't think that's going to happen. I feel like this would suck. This would suck for them. But if the Wyatt Six came back and attacked anybody, it would be Shayna and Zoe. But rather than, I guess, attack, let's hope they would just kind of appear after the match and continue the match and pin the last women standing to go to WrestleMania.
I love that.
That would be great. But then we go backstage. Bert Kreischer's being interviewed, American Made. Chad says, "Hey, Bert, you're here to see me wrestle, the most famous person to come out of Minnesota." Chad says, even though he's not in action, El Grande Americano will take his place in a tag match later tonight. Bert says, "I'm not here to see you." And then we see Alpha Academy greet Bert. You notice take their shirts off, and American Made leaves in disgust.
Yes. The good old celebrity host era.
Bert Kreischer
WWE.
Bert Kreischer has his controversies apparently, but even he would be better than the guy they have doing the roast now.
Just have Fluffy do it. He's a big WWE fan.
Literally, he's also funny.
And non-controversial.
God, we're going to talk about this during the tag match that they have later, but dude, he kept talking during the match, and I was like, this is the least funny guy I've ever heard.
I just tried to tune him out, honestly.
It was so bad. Then we
Well,
go to another interview. AJ was backstage. Says that the match between LWO and American Made would be next, but after that we come back from commercial break. We have AJ with Jackie Redmond. Jackie says, "AJ, where's your head at?" To which AJ say, "I'm in a good headspace. Can't wait to humiliate Logan Paul at Mania." But Karrion Kross comes in and he basically says, "You need to win. You need to win because if you win, we all lose." And it sounded like Cross had money on AJ.
I was
He's
gonna
like,
say that. He's got
I'm gonna
money
lose
on
my
him.
I'm gonna lose my house if you don't win, dude.
Hey,
Get
I
it
got a
together.
10-match parlay and you better not fuck this up.
The parlay. Oh my god. But yeah, Styles says, "I'm gonna talk to Pierce, give you a taste of your own medicine next week." Styles walks off. Scarlett says, "Got him again." Cross agrees. We are finally getting Karrion Cross scraps after like 6 months.
Yes. Finally.
Thank God.
He's way
And
too
when
talented to not be used.
he throws Logan Paul off a bridge and takes Logan's place against AJ at WrestleMania, cinema.
He just
And
shows up to Raw with a gun next week.
shoots him. No, that's not funny. We shouldn't joke about that.
Well, it could be blanks.
Yeah.
Scare him a little bit.
Anyway, next we had a 6-man tag match.
Yes. This overall was a really great match, and the finish happened when Ivy seemed to give El Grande a metal plate to put into the inside of his mask. Ray sees this and he jumps on the apron to alert the official, and El Grande headbutts him, sending him off the apron, and shortly afterwards, he hits Dragon Lee with a diving headbutt from the top turnbuckle for the win.
Who is this gimmick for? Honestly.
Um, the 45 to 65 racist demographic.
Oh God. Let's move on. Got Gunther walking out, dressed like SpongeBob, as he heads out to the ring.
And
But
he's ready. He's
yeah,
ready. He's ready.
after that, Jay's music hits before Gunther can get a word out, and Jay looks like exhausted. He's in all black. He's not eating, and he tried throughout the segment to basically get him like, stop eating. I'm talking here. But yeah, you can see that, watching Jimmy bleed out right in front of him was not great. He gets in the ring. He basically says, "Gunther, you have a mother?" Says, "You have a mom?" Gunther nods. Says, what do you guys talk about? Does she ask about the wife and grandson? What did he eat? That's regular family stuff. Jay says he has a mother too. Do you want to know what we talked about this week? Had to tell her that her oldest son was laid up in a hospital bed. Her oldest son got 15 stitches across his forehead. She asked me, "Why didn't you protect him, Joshua?" I never lied. I didn't lie to my mother. I told her I was afraid of him. I was afraid of Gunther. So Gunther, you had the drop on me. You were 3 steps ahead of me. That wasn't enough. You got my family involved. You know how I feel about my family, especially my brother. So he's pacing in the ring, and the crowd's trying to yeet this whole time in between words. It's like the what chance. It's even worse. Uh, he says, "Your blood was all over your body. It was on my hands. I've never felt more hopeless, helpless, pissed off, and damn near scared. And you made the whole world stop by violating my twin in front of me." He says, "Before WrestleMania, I'll lay my head down and say a prayer. I'll pray for you, but more so for myself. I'll ask the Lord to forgive me for the man I'm about to become. Because at WrestleMania, he'll get me. I'll get you for myself, Jimmy, and our whole family. And he's gonna take the World Heavyweight Championship."
I was
Throws the mic at Gunther, and then Gunther actually looks like, "Oh shit, what did I do?"
This was a really, really good segment to kind of make Jay more sympathetic to the IWC. Not that you should target segments to those people, because I'm just going to go ahead and say it, and it's not going to make a lot of people happy. The IWC doesn't know wrestling sometimes.
No, they don't know ball.
They don't know ball, they just like to bitch.
Yeah, it's something, all right. Um, but I love this promo. After what happened to Jay last week, where he looked like completely useless, this was a great get back to him because he didn't do his usual circus tricks. He didn't do his prancing and parading. He just looked Gunther dead in the eye and said, "I'm gonna get your ass."
Let them cook.
Yeah, it was a very very slow build. Honestly, I think this would have worked better if Jay had won the chamber, but it's over and done.
Yeah.
After that, we get the Raw tag match. New Day's challenging the War Raiders for the tag titles, but before that, we see Natalia and Maxine in Pierce's office, and we'd already talked about this. They are in the tag gauntlet match this coming Friday. But as they leave, Ray walks in, says, "I want a match with El Grande Americano." Adam says, "You can pick the time and place." And God Almighty, why is this on the WrestleMania card? El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio. Why why is this here?
If it's
Look,
to allow both men to be on the WrestleMania card, I will allow it.
exactly, sure. But this match better end with Ray ripping that stupid mask off of Chad's face.
But this also goes both ways. Like, the IWC, of course, wants Ray to win in storyline, beating the evil Chad Gable. But also, you're gonna have the fans that want to see Gable go over.
I want to see Gable win, but I don't want to see El Grande Americano win. It's a stupid, tasteless gimmick.
You're gonna find out it's a different person from Chad Gable after all.
Imagine it was
That's how
Brad
Aleister
Gable.
Black makes his debut. he's
It
been
was
wearing
Brad.
he's been wearing like Chad Gable's skin.
Oh my god, that would be horrifying. But yeah, for this tag match, I kind of commented on this earlier. Tony Hinchcliffe is on commentary for this match, and my god, this is like the driest comedian I think I've ever heard. Nothing he said made me even smile, and I tried to cut out my bias towards him politically and morally, but Jesus, it's just bad. Said the only thing stiffer than Michael Cole is Big E's neck. Like, what? Why? That's that's tasteless in like so many ways. Especially when we just heard from Kevin that his career might be over because of his neck. It's
If he said KO,
if he would have
oh
said
my
KO,
god.
I think I would have flown to Minneapolis and had my hands on that dude. That's just it's he's a roast comedian. I get it, but have a funny roast. Jesus. That's why I'm saying like they couldn't have picked a funny controversial comedian.
I don't know. I don't even think they had to go controversial comedian.
They didn't.
They're
But
not
they
even
did.
airing this.
Exactly. They're not even airing this.
All that's gonna happen is a PR nightmare.
It's gonna be a hellstorm of somebody's gonna ask for their release after he makes some tasteless joke about Eddie Guerrero or Chris Benoit or something.
Oh, he's gonna make a Benoit joke.
Oh, he absolutely is. He's gonna talk about some match. He said that made me want to do what Chris Benoit did,
That made me want to pull up Chris Benoit. Am I right, fellas?
and everybody's gonna go silent and like it's. Oh,
Or what if he's just like, just going in storyline Triple H. You remember whenever you drugged Stephanie and married her?
it'd be funny if it wasn't coming from him.
He just points out all the stupid shit in wrestling, like, hey, remember Katie Vick?
And if that happened, I hope Kane comes in, choke slams him through a table. That would be the only redeeming part of this is if he takes a bad bump.
Yeah, and then
Or
Kane with the old school talking device he had in the Attitude Era, and he's like, I am going to run for president.
okay, I'd vote for Kane, but not Glenn Jacobs.
If I do not win this election, I will set myself on fire.
That would be hilarious.
That's the only
Um,
reason he won the title.
is that why?
Yes, because they couldn't get him to set himself on fire
Oh my
because
God,
of USA Network, so they had to make him win.
that's incredible. Oh, but the match, it happens. Xavier Woods brings a chair in. Ivar rips it out of his hands, nails him in the stomach with it, and the New Day gets to win by DQ. And I love Ivar after that. He's like, "What? I didn't do anything, ref." As he's holding the steel chair in his hands. I was not actively paying attention when this happened, but I heard like the metal clack, and I saw Ivar looking confused, and I'm like, "Did they just pull another Eddie?" But then I watch it back, and it's like, no, they Ivar actually did hit him with the chair. But New Day attacks him after the match. They go for his neck, and they almost they're looking to like break Eric's neck. They were with the uh double stomp onto the chair, but the officials run in before any more damage can be done.
Yeah, and after that, we have the Penta versus Dom match. The last match of the evening ends with Penta hitting the sacrifice and then the Penta driver to win. Carlito attacks Penta after the match, and then Braun Breaker comes out to spear the ever living hell out of Carlito, Dom,
Oh
and
my
Penta.
God, dude, the spear on Carlito.
It's like he did like a
He,
spin
t-
in
he
air.
took flight. If you freeze frame it, it looks like Carlito's giving him a DDT.
It looks like a Street Fighter move that he hit on him.
It does. It's oh my God. It's too funny to talk about for too long because I'm just gonna be laughing like a jackass for this whole segment.
But oh man, Braun thinks the segment is over and he's posing with the belt, but Finn attacks him from behind and then he grabs the belt, lifts it up, and then he gets the hell out of Dodge whenever Braun Breaker gets back up.
Who's walking out of WrestleMania with the IC title?
I think it's gonna be Dom.
I think Dom or one of Dom or Finn is gonna cost the other. And that's going to be a reason they break up Judgment Day. And I've been saying it, please break them up. They don't. It doesn't need
You
to be a
could
thing
have
anymore.
you could have Finn win, and then you could have a lead up to SummerSlam to where it's kind of like how the Judgment Day broke up at SummerSlam last year.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, then we're going to the main event, which is another segment. Uh, why? Why are the segments always main eventing these days? What the hell is happening here? Um, but yeah, we get a couple of matches confirmed. We're getting AJ Styles versus Karrion Kross, and then Roman Reigns, the OTC, will appear. This will be Roman's 10th WrestleMania main event,
Yes, even though the graphics said 11th.
which had some people on the IWC being like, "Are they trying to tell us something?" Is he going to be inserted into the match? And like, if he does, I'm turning it off.
I counted it on my fingers when I was laying down last night, and we're not going to go over every single main event that he's uh had at WrestleMania because it would take too much time. So
Well, I mean, it's everyone but the COVID one.
everyone but the COVID and 35 one, because the 35 one took place on one night.
Yeah. 31, 32, 33, 34. Not 35,
37,
not
38,
not COVID,
39,
37,
both
38,
40,
39. Yeah.
and now
He doesn't
41.
need this like at all. But Paul's in the ring. He says, I want to state a couple things for the record just so we can move on. I'll always be loyal to my tribal chief, but I'll always be loyal to my best friend in the world. Because I'm loyal to both doesn't mean that I will ever be disloyal to either of them. And when it comes to WrestleMania, I want to get one thing clear. And then Seth's music hits. Heyman looks disgusted. He says, in case you don't know, I'm a revolutionary, Seth freaking Rollins. But tonight's not about me. It's about you. You're talking about loyalty, but what's the reason I want to says, which is the reason I want to talk to you. He says, Paul Heyman, whose side are you on? Maybe the very best friend to CM Punk. Heyman rolls his eyes. CM Punk chant picks up. Rollins says, he'll be the wise man. OTC picks up, says, you're trying to convince everyone and yourself that you can do both at the same time. Occurred to me over the last week that you're neither. Says, you'll give him the spiel about how Romans did so much, but Reigns doesn't give a damn about Paul Heyman. Says you like to Roman likes you to shine his shoes, book his jets, order his steaks, and hand him his ulafala. He doesn't respect you. You take him. He's taking you to the main event of last year's WrestleMania, which he lost the title thanks to some well-dressed visionary. Roman then disappeared and left Heyman in the hands of his quote-unquote loving family with Solo Sikoa. Did they treat you well? No. They put you through a table in your hometown. Said Jacob and Azalea had to watch their father be put through a table because Roman Reigns doesn't care about him. CM Punk also wasn't there to rescue you. Best friends love each other and are there for each other. They don't use each other when it's convenient. 10 years ago, Punk walked out on everyone and Heyman. Did he take you with him? No, he tried to tear down everything you build here. And blah, 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 something to the effect of Punk wasn't the first choice to be on Team Roman. Seth was. Paul acknowledges that. He says, stop me when I'm telling lies. He declined. Punk wasn't the first choice. He was the last and only choice. Did he join Team Roman out of the goodness of his heart because he loves his best friend Paul Heyman? No. He did it because he could get a favor out of Paul Heyman. Says Punk isn't your best friend. He doesn't love anyone but himself. And then we get somewhere Seth is like pushing and slapping Paul. Heyman says, don't you put your hands on me. And then, out comes CM Punk. One thing leads to another. Punk gets curb stomped. As Heyman is looking over Punk, Seth goes for another curb stomp, but he pulls back. Because he said during this, I could take you out whenever I want to. But after he pulls back, he says, now you owe me a favor. Which he owes $12 million to the ECW wrestlers. So I don't think Seth's getting that favor anytime soon.
Yeah, that check's gonna bounce.
Oh, but baby, take us to NXT.
NXT live from Orlando, Florida, as usual, in the Performance Center. The first match we have of the evening is Jordynne Grace versus Jada Parker, and the show starts with Stephanie backstage and Kelly Kincaid asking her when we can expect her decision on who she's facing at Stand and Deliver. Steph says it's probably coming after this match. Steph on commentary makes it pretty clear her decision wouldn't come until right after the match, so she's not spoiling anything. Action almost immediately spills outside, and once they get back into the ring, Jada was in control, hitting a teardrop in the corner, a couple near falls for Jordynne, and hands thrown for Jordynne during the picture-in-picture break. Jada set up for a pile driver a couple times in the match, but got countered both times. Jada doesn't get much credit for her strength, but neither do most wrestlers, of course.
Definitely not.
Jordynne went for a suicide dive, but clipped her foot on the rope and had a pretty nasty fall.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it again. It's been said a million times. IWC was giving her crap for it, but like, she's excellent. She made a mistake. Who gives a rat's ass?
Exactly.
It didn't ruin the match, and she's thankfully not hurt. She just took a tumble. There's a reason they say don't try this at home. You will wipe the F out if you try to do a suicide dive. If I tried to do a suicide dive, I'd probably kill myself.
You see people mess up suicide dives all the time.
Literally, we've seen it from dudes in the main roster like in the last month.
I
I
want to
don't know,
say
something.
I want to say that somebody messed up on this show. You said that Nathan overshot his suicide dive, right?
Yeah, against I think it was against Ray Phoenix.
Yeah,
He messed up a suicide dive I think before in NXT, like at Roadblock maybe? No, it wasn't at Roadblock, but it
but
was a tag
people
match.
miss suicide dives all the time. Just check
There's a reason
Botchamania.
it's there's a reason it's called a suicide dive. High risk, it's dangerous.
Just IWC, stop being stupid.
Sh- yeah, shut the hell up basically.
But yeah, Jada slapped Stephanie at ringside, and Steph went for an attack, and it, attack from behind and nailed Jordan, instead. Chaos ensued in the middle of the ring, and Giulia came back to save Steph. Oh, wait, never mind. Giulia headbutted Steph and hit her with a Northern Lights bomb.
Hello?
This
I guess
came
she's
out of
not hurt.
nowhere.
I guess she's not hurt. I mean, not hurt into a heel turn?
Maybe she was hurt for a bit. I don't know. Because nobody reports on dirt sheets for NXT, so I guess everything we get is just like as raw as they want it to come off on television.
I suppose, but also at the same time, it's like, why did we have Steph win the title and then
Probably,
drop the North American title?
I think they just probably didn't want both women to have a title, and so they just said, okay, we're gonna have one of the women win, other takes a break off, then they're gonna join into a main event program at Stand and Deliver, and then from there they can go into a program with each other again just for the NXT Championship.
I do wonder if Steph drops the title and goes to the main roster.
One of them's got to be ready, right?
I talked about this in the last episode, I think. I would love Giulia to go to the main roster and become the first Paul Heyman girl. Cause that would rock.
Yeah, I
Honestly,
agree.
Steph too. Either of them, hell, both of them. Both of them at the same time being Paul Heyman's girls. Wow, that came out weird.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Um, yeah, Paul Heyman managing both of them would be, oh my god. Imagine the way he says Stephanie the Care or Giulia or literally introduces them at all. I would kill for a universe where he managed them.
Mm-hmm. You know,
Either way, I think this is a heel turn for Giulia, I guess.
yeah, it is.
Headbutting her bestie.
Ricky Saints recap package is next, and it's not much to say about that. It's literally just recapping his match that we were all so excited happened.
Yeah, you were probably screaming, or you would have been if there wasn't a lot of stuff going on in your house at the time.
Yeah, I have a cat that's had some bladder issues, and loud noises really startles him, so I try and be quiet for him.
Yeah, speaking of loud noises, we got Hank and Tank up next. They're talking backstage about what they're trying to do and how they should still watch Fraxium, even though Nathan was a bit harsh. Swipe Right appears and immediately starts talking shit about how they're going to beat Fraxium and how Hank and Tank should be taking notes. That blonde kid is really effective at acting like a smarmy douche.
I mean,
Brad Baylor, I think his name was.
these Evolve kids, they seem to be pretty good. If I can get them on YouTube or Tubi, I'll occasionally watch, but I don't think we're going to be covering their programs here on the podcast.
Probably not. We already run like an hour and a half most episodes anyway. We're probably creeping up on like hour and 10 at this point. Maybe an hour.
And if you thought we were going to cover AEW after their program went to
Dude,
11:30, no, we're not going to do AEW. I'm sorry.
not even just that, but what are they doing with Swerve Strickland losing to Moxley?
I saw everybody on the IWC like, today's the day Swerve beats John Moxley, and I'm like, I'm not so sure about that.
Look, Tony Khan is clearly very set on Darby Allin becoming the guy to beat Moxley, but also you have Swerve Strickland at in London bounce off a Busaiku knee from Bryan Danielson like it was nothing, and then drill him in the face with a house call. But you have him go down for like 30 seconds from a BTE trigger from the Young Bucks, which has pretty much never put away anybody. Not only was it like a long wind between the move and the count, but the count was like 1, 2, 3, and he didn't move. Are you trying to tell me that the Young Bucks BTE trigger is more powerful in this universe than the running knee?
I
Than Bryan Danielson's Busaiku knee? Are
I
you kidding
I
me?
also got to add two things. The selling was absolute shit in that match. It was fucking awful.
That match was just. They had Hangman come out and help Swerve for nothing.
So you're all right, and you're also going to tell me that Swerve can take a pile driver on the steel steps, but when two dickheads make their return back to AEW and raise their knee up to his head, that knocks him out for 1, 2, 3.
Literally, it was like like I counted. It was 30 seconds between the move and the 3 count. What the hell are they doing?
It's
I would
it's
react.
just
I'd react the
stupid.
same exact. I would react the same way if a couple of Uso super kicks put down Cody for 40 seconds. Cause like, what?
And hey, this isn't tribalistic. We're just calling a spade a spade. If we saw the same thing happen in WWE, we
Yeah,
would
that's what I'm
call that
saying.
shit out.
This was stupid booking. Not just because it's AEW, but because this was stupid booking.
From
I could get
everything else I heard before, I heard the show was great, but it seems like the
yeah.
past two PLEs that they've done, like the ending of the shows, have really put sour tastes in the mouths of fans.
Yeah, Darby Allin got hurt climbing Mount Everest of all things. And he's out for a while, which I think that's clear why Moxley has retained. He wants Darby Allin to be the guy and take the title off of Moxley. But there's also a better way you could have had Swerve lose, other than a freaking a special move, not even a finisher, like a I don't even what are they called in 2K?
I'm not sure.
It's not the finisher, it's the other bar. I can't remember what it's called.
I don't know.
The signatures.
Yeah.
The signatures. They lost on a signature, not even a finisher. This, look, I'm gonna move on before I lose it because this was just bad booking. Go ahead, Brendan.
All right. So next we got the culling, and everyone is saying that they let him down last week, but Sean says he admired the passion and is grateful that he was champion, but that title he lost is no longer the focus. Their bond was never about his success, rather theirs. Tonight, Izzy has a match to qualify for the ladder match, and Brooks and Vance are to ensure Hank and Tank don't find their way. Sean is also quoted by saying, "It was always about you three shining."
And I like Sean Spears. I'm glad he won the title, and I think it's very clear he was a transitional champion to get it from Tony to Ricky somehow, some way. But I am interested to see what they do with the culling from here.
I completely agree. You could go a number of ways.
Yeah, because these are 3 wrestlers. I don't remember if Nico Vance was even in NXT before this, but I know Brooks Jensen was having a whole thing. Izzy Dame hadn't been seen since she jobbed to somebody a few months back, but now she actually had her first singles match in months in this episode. But for now, we're going to talk about Fraxion versus Swipe Right from Evolve. Ricky Smokes is the brunette, and Brad Baylor was the blonde I was talking about. Swipe Right, they're very good sellers. I'll give them that. But, Fraxion's on a whole different level. It was a very good match, and it's clear why Swipe Right's popular on Evolve. But Nathan Frazier is just ridiculous. He hit a springboard backflip DDT, the styling DDT, and then he hit a running moonsault, like almost back to back. What the hell? He's Seth Rollins on steroids. And of course, Seth Rollins is his mentor, as has been quoted, I think, on either SmackDown or Raw. Right?
I'm not sure.
They did say Seth. They said his mentor Seth Rollins on one of these shows. Swipe Right went for their finisher, which I don't know the name of, but Axiom, he pushed Baylor into the ropes that Smokes was on. Then we get the classic Spanish Fly, Phoenix Splash, Frazier into the cover. Smokes went to break the pin, but Axiom hit him with a golden ratio right to the chops, and they got the 1-2-3.
Next, we got Fatal Influence backstage. Fallon says she's taking Fatal Influence's qualifier match, but JC Jane says she's taking it because Fallon already lost the title, but Jasmine Nix says she's already got dibs, leaving the other two behind to wonder what the F just happened.
And we've got that match up next because Sol Ruka versus Jasmine Nix is our match. Sol was actually a member of the inaugural ladder match for the North American title, and she was Kalani's first defense at Heatwave, which was an insane match, but one man named Dave called it choreographed gymnastics because, that guy. But on that note, Sol has improved like nobody would believe over the last year. It's beautiful to see. And it's never gonna not be funny to me that she plays a surfer girl from Hawaii, but she's Canadian. I don't know.
That is pretty funny.
That's hilarious to me. Um, Fatal Influence distractions ensue. We got a Knicks kick to Soul, but Soul got an inside cradle, kick out, action to the corner, and a Soul Snatcher for the 1-2-3 to qualify. Now that you've seen the Soul Snatcher a few times, what are your thoughts, Brandon?
It's a kick-ass finisher, man. I like it.
Definitely
For
needs
the
to be
life of me, I don't
protected.
know how she does it.
Uh, I don't either. I try to figure out the physics of some of these things, but it's
I
it's
can't
very
even
difficult.
explain it in words, what she does.
There were a couple spots during the LWO American Made match where I think it was Torres and Wild. I think it was Torres who did like a corkscrew off, like a running corkscrew off the top rope. I meant to say this during that segment, but everyone in that match could hoop because I think Julius Creed hit another shooting star press off the top rope. Fella's too damn big to be moving like that. Those guys can all hoop. I'll give him that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, Soul got the win. She's in the ladder match. I think as of this moment in the show, it's Soul, Zarya, and Kalani
Yes.
who had qualified.
Next, we are
Next.
in the locker room with Sarah Schreiber and Javon Evans. Sarah asks Javon about the triple threat, but Javon says he called it that Dark State was going to be a problem, and he says he may not have an era or be the ruler, but he's coming for the title tonight. It's Dark State at Stand and Deliver. It's the NXT Championship.
Dude, if he wins the title, I'm going to be hyped.
Same here, man. Same here.
Uh, we go to the parking lot. Giulia's walking out of the PC, and the cameraman asks her, "Hey, why'd you drop your best friend?" Giulia says, "No friends. Rematch." That's all she says. I'm going to take this next one so you can do the Ricky segment again.
Yes, thank you.
We got Hank and Tank versus the Culling, and I finally figured out who is who. Hank has the full head of hair, and Tank has the ponytail. Hank was rocking shit early, but Vance takes out Tank into the barricade. Hank missed a swanton, and the Culling gets the win. After the match, both guys were screaming, what are we doing wrong?" And I do wonder somehow if they're going to be the ones to topple Fraxium. That would be something.
Think they might. It would be a big win for them, and I think it could put them over the top. They've clearly been featured on NXT basically every week since I've started watching, and I don't think you can say that about any other male tag team.
Featured exactly. They have segments every week. There's a bunch of guys you see like behind the scenes and such, but they are getting like speaking in matches every week.
Yeah, they clearly have big plans for them moving forward.
They're over with the crowd. That much is clear. But honestly, a lot of people are over with the PC crowd. That's the thing. It's gonna be a PLE match where you see just how over they are. Because I think it was Ethan Page or Joe Hendry who was talking about No Mercy, where they had an NXT title match, and it was basically like, yeah, you get over with the people in the PC who you see every week for all year, but then you go to Denver and people are still cheering and chanting your song, and it's like, oh, people actually know who I am. This is awesome. And on that note, I do think it was Joe who said that.
Yes, it was Joe.
But Brendan, your besto, your baby
Yes.
boy.
Ricky Saints. Last week, he became the fastest NXT to go from debut to title. The first night he stepped foot in NXT, he said he was here to turn everything upside down and that the revolution would be televised, etc. Ricky Saints keeps his word because, baby, I'm standing here, the new NXT North American champion. Would love to keep the show going, but he had a bitter taste in his mouth from Ethan last week. He talks down Ethan, something to the effect of Ricky doing what Ethan did but better and faster. He calls out Ethan, but Lexus King appears and says Ricky's focused on the wrong thing. He says he has the cup, but he loves gold. He loves gold, but he gets cut off by Eddie Thorpe. He says it must be nice to be handed opportunities while others starve. Eddie says that title represents the land of his people, the same land that was stolen from them. That title is his birthright. Wesley now interrupts with TNT in tow. Wes says
I don't care if that's their actual that's not their actual tag team name, but I'm gonna call them that. Damn it!
all right. Wes says he's going to take care of Inamura after this. Can't talk about the NXT North American title without talking about Wes himself. Long overdue to have gold around his waist. And he calls Laxus another greedy white man.
That was great.
That was funny.
Wes's face when we're gonna put a picture of Wes's. Yeah, we're gonna put a picture of Wes's face on the screen here. But God, it was funny.
Ricky,
everybody in the ring was like, "What the hell?"
Oh man, I gotta put.
I wonder if that was just like a scheduled part of the promo there, because everybody looks shocked by it. If it wasn't good job, Eddie Thorpe, because that was awesome.
Oh man, but Ricky says it's not the times. If you want the shot, and Ethan hits another twisted grim out of nowhere, and all four men, Wes, Lexus, and Eddie, grab the title. They fight over it. Chaos ensues. Wes wipes out the field with a rope dive, and that's how the segment ends.
And then we go to the GM's office. We get Stephanie walking into the office with Rob Stone, Stevie Turner, and Ava. And she said, Ava's like, "Hey, Stephanie, a lot of stuff happened. Do you have your decision?" Stone's like, "Yeah, you could have Stephanie or Jordan." And Stevie's like, "Or Giulia." And Steph looks Ava dead in the eye and says, "Stand and deliver. I want all of them."
Love it.
I think there's only going to be one singles match on this card, and I can't wait. Because every match is either like a tag match or like a 3 or 4 person match.
Right, we eating good.
And I don't think it's a bad thing either. They've got so much talent. They need to get it on the card.
For real. We got Trick Williams and Sarah Schreiber next. Trick's thoughts on the triple threat. Every time he wants to get his, someone's in his way. He lists his achievements, and being a back-to-back main eventer of Stand and Deliver, Trick says that Javon and Oba need to bring their A game because at Stand and Deliver he's going to whip both of their asses.
Whoop that Trick. Then we get Wesley versus Yoshiki Inamura. Wes starts with another dive, but Inamura actually catches him, throws him into the apron. Later in the match, Briggs gets taken out by TNT, who were trying to cause a distraction, and Briggs inadvertently knocked Inamura off the top rope. Wes hits the cardiac kick to the back of Inamura's neck for the win.
Oba's backstage. He says he knows all too well about Dark State's rumblings. He says he hasn't forgotten what they did at Vengeance Day, that they hit him with their best shot, and they failed to put him down. After tonight, he's focusing on Stand and Deliver, where Trick and Javon get their chance to hit him with their best shot.
And we get the 4th of 6 qualifying matches for the ladder match. Izzy's first singles match, I think, since last year is her versus Ren Sinclair. Ren has improved greatly since joining NQCC. She's one of my favorites, even if she doesn't win. Her performance at Deadline in the Iron Survivor match was platinum. Perfect. She didn't win. In kayfabe, she didn't actually do very well, but I love her. She's entertaining. And I'm glad Izzy's been getting opportunities as part of the culling. Izzy actually won off the powerbomb, but she let go before the count finished.
I noticed that, and everybody in the crowd was pointing up too. Like, I had wondered that thought myself. Like, wait, was that just a 2 count?
Yeah, I went back and rewatched it, and one of the members of the Culling or NQCC like slapped on the mat, and I think that probably made her think that was one,
Mm.
whereas the 2 and 3 were actually 1 and 2.
But yeah, that was very weird. We got
Yeah,
women's
and then
division chaos next. Everyone asking for a last chance qualifier. There isn't one, Ava says. Roxanne says she deserves to be in the match, and now that Ava's looking around, she has an idea for Stand and Deliver. Roxy says it better not be a tag match, and you called it. Is there going to be
yeah,
even one singles match on this whole show?
I think we get our answer later because I'm going to talk about it when we get there. But there's so much talent in NXT that they need to like get everybody on the card, and I get it. Backstage, we have Andre walking in on Uriah Connors and Kale Dixon playing 2K, gives him some advice, but they ask for more. He says, "You don't want my help." They said, "Yeah, we do." Andre sighs and he starts teaching again.
I don't think
And
they were
Hank,
playing 2K. I think they were just watching game film.
oh, even worse. I'm stupid. Uh, but Hank and Tank walk in acting pissed off. They're like, "I really don't know what we're doing wrong." But then they walk into the WWE Tag Champions, the Street Profits. Dawkins says, "There's ups and downs." Montez says, "You're trying to be tag teams, you're not. Just lean on each other. Be who you are. You gotta feel the honk honk. You gotta be the honk honk." And now we're getting a tag team gauntlet match to face Fraxium at Stand and Deliver. Dawkins and Ford get everyone pumped the hell up. And I told my friend Andrew this. I was like, dude, I would love for them to lead like a church, like a mass. Because I would be praising whatever god they were peddling.
But man, these guys are probably my favorite tag team.
Street Profits?
Yeah, they're probably my
Yeah.
favorite tag team.
They better be on the Mania card.
Oh, they will. Don't worry about it. All right. So we got some of our advertised matches. We have the Gauntlet Tag Team match for the number one contender spot that you just talked about. We have Briggs and Amora, No Quarter Catch Crew, Hank and Tank, TNT, and the Culling. The number one contenders match for the North American title between Lexus, Eddie, Wes, and Ethan.
Yes, this is what I was talking about. I think this is going to be the only singles match on the card. That's that's insane. Whoever wins is going to be on the card. Um, but then we get our main event. Sorry, I'm choking on water.
It happened to me. It,
I got it.
it happens to you now.
I got it. We got Trick, Oba, and Javon versus Dark State. Javon enters. That boy is bouncy. And then Trick's entrance actually cuts him off, but in turn, Oba does the same thing. And they were arguing through the break. Then we get Dark State's entrance music. They aren't wasting any time. They ran straight into the ring. All four men jumped in and started jumping these guys. But eventually, stuff happens. We get Sugars, Lennox, and James are the three competitors with Osiris Griffin watching from the outside. They're working like a hell of a team right off the jump to waste Oba. And this is a small detail, but a fun one. Each member's gear is different. Sugars is in like the one strap overalls. Cutler James is in baggy pants. Dion Lennox is in regular wrestling shorts. And Osiris Griffin, is in trunks on the outside watching. Which, it gives them all their individuality, kind of like they did with the Shield. Each of them had their own thing that made them different. Roman had the tactical vest. Seth had the gloves and the smaller, like lighter vest, and Ambrose was just insane. That pretty much covers it. Trick was actually got tagged in. He refused to tag out, but eventually Javon tagged in, started cleaning house. Chaos ensued. Dark State got sent out of the ring. There were arguments from, I called them JTO to save myself time. Javon went for a suicide dive, but Osiris stopped him before we get a face-off prior to the action resuming. All three guys moving for Dark State looks insane, but I think, like we talked about, Sugars is the most polished one because he was going crazy on the independent circuits. You called it. You said to him he's probably the brightest star in that group a few weeks back.
I saw potential in him, man. The way that he cut that promo in the parking lot, the
Yeah,
way that
you're
he
def
kind of flipped his emotions around. He wasn't like fake acting like you see a lot of wrestlers do. Like, he sounded sincere, and that's what makes a good wrestler. Whenever you can give your promo and it sounds like it's being authentic, that's what makes CM Punk such a good promo, because you don't know when he's telling the truth or not.
Yeah, he was on the independent circuits as Lucky Ali, where pretty much everybody's like, yeah, this kid's going to be big someday. I'll tell you what I noticed about them during this match. I'm going to see if you figured it out too. It was kind of that they were working like a team, but it also felt like kind of a cracked out team where they didn't really know what was going to happen, but they were just doing it.
Yeah, it feels like they were just going through the motions, huh?
Not necessarily going through the motions, but like they just were all individually crazy enough, but they also didn't know what the other was going to do, but adapted quickly. It's
Yeah.
not like it's not like the Shield wherein they all worked on the same like brain thread thought process. These guys are all like on a different wavelength, but they also figure it out.
Yeah, that's more like it.
Yeah. Um, Dark State was cutting the ring in half with Javon. Oba tagged in and he actually threw Sugars into Trick. Trick starts getting messy. Oba tagged in Javon. Trick smoked Oba with a right. Javon's the only one left, but Dark State is working like a well-oiled machine to win the match. I don't know what they call that move, that finisher, but they set up for the power bomb and Sugars off the turnbuckle to like put him through the mat. That was cool. But as Darkstate celebrates, the family's music hits. Stax appears on the video board and tells Darkstate on the behalf of Don next week in the parking lot. You're going to learn that messing with the family has consequences. Holy crap. We got a parking lot fight?
I've yet
What?
to see I've yet to see a parking lot fight.
Me either. I mean, they fought in the parking lot, but they never had a match in the parking lot.
You think this is gonna be like a new match stipulation? Will this be something like a cinematic match?
No, I think they've done parking lot matches in the past. Or at least they have them in 2K. So
Yeah,
it
I
like
was gonna
sets a
say you
precedent.
can fight in the parking lot in 2K, but wouldn't it
I,
be cool if it was kind of like a cinematic match?
Yeah, kinda, but also
It's
it
been a
kind of I
while
feel like
since
that.
we had something like that, since like
Well, yeah, but
2020.
yeah, that was for a reason, Brendan.
I know, but I kind of miss the cinematic matches a little bit. Give us just one little taste.
Then watch more Roman Reigns segments. You'll get all the cinema you want. But just some final extra notes after we're finished with NXT. We're getting Ivan Koloff and Dory Funk Sr. inducted in the Hall of Fame this coming Friday night. Good for them.
Yes, good for
Too
them, man.
far too late, but good for them.
Y-
I'm glad that they're getting recognized because Ivan Koloff famously ended Bruno's reign, his 8-year title reign.
Yeah, and Dory Funk of the Funk family, I am of the opinion that every single member of that family should be in the Hall of Fame. Of course, Terry, I believe, is already a Hall of Famer.
I think so.
Dory, I believe he ran his territory in Amarillo.
Yeah, Terry and Dory Jr. were inducted in '09.
So
But
Terry and Dory, and then Dory Funk Sr.
yes. Just some final thoughts. What do we think of the road to WrestleMania just in general?
I think we talked about this before the show started, but it's kind of that slow build, and I think whenever it's all said and done on the go home shows, it's just gonna instantly come at us like, oh my god, I'm excited for WrestleMania.
I'm of the belief that each individual match looks incredible, but the build-ups have not been there.
Some obviously are better than others. Some
Definitely.
are starting to get good, like Gunther and Jay and Tiffany versus Charlotte. And of course, the Cena and Cody Rhodes build that didn't even need to have a build. It was Cena turning heel that sells itself.
Yeah. I didn't put this in here, but I'll tell you this. I think it's very disingenuous to leave Solo off the card. After all the work he did in the summer to get over this new bloodline, just it's not fair.
I would agree. He's probably going to be the best star that could potentially be left off of the show. which is
Well,
unfortunate.
well, actually, no. Because I have someone that would be much worse to leave off the card. Because it is damn right, is damn wrong, and it is disrespectful that they're leaving Nia Jax off the card.
Isn't she hurt?
No!
She's not hurt?
She said it herself on Twitter. She's like, no, I'm not hurt.
They just don't have creative for her?
I get it. I get it if you don't have creative for her. But she was women's champ until January. We haven't seen her since Elimination Chamber. What the... Pardon my French. What the... Bleep this, Brandon. What the... What are we doing? That the second most recent women's champion is not on the WrestleMania card. Just like Solo. She's done so much work to make these things look good. Her and Candice LeRae have been a good team. They've been a good duo. Why is she not, even in the thought process for creative?
I
get
no
it.
clue.
I get it if they don't have anything for her. I get it. But also, figure it out. You wouldn't dare leave Roman Reigns off the card. You wouldn't dare to leave... I don't even know. Who else is a big player in the men's division that might not be on the card? You're not going to leave Randy off the card. Even without KO, you're going to probably find someone for him. You're going to have El Grande Americano on the card, but not Nia Jax? I love Chad Gable. Don't get that mistaken. I'm so glad Chad Gable's going to get a WrestleMania moment, but not like this. Not as El Grande Americano.
What are you talking about? He's not El Grande.
Brendan, now is not the time to follow kayfabe. Now is not the time. Listen, if you can't tell, I'm very passionate about this stuff. If that's not obvious. But, oh my god. It's they left Bobby Lashley off the card in 39. They left Liv off the card last year. They're probably leaving Alexa off the card this year. Did you hear her Royal Rumble pop? And you're going to have nothing for her? Of course, I could completely be eating my words in a week. I hope I'm eating my words about all this in a week. But, you have some big stars in the women's division, and you'd rather have El Grande Americano in a WrestleMania match? What? I don't know.
Don't even get me started on the fact that there's not a women's U.S. title match.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. Chelsea not being on the card is just... That pisses me off.
I sent him off the deep end, ladies and gentlemen.
What have you done, Brendan? You reminded me of this. Chelsea not being on the card is a damn travesty because she was the first. She has had much more to work with. And I love Lyra. I'm glad Lyra's getting her shine as the women's IC title. But Chelsea has won the title at main event back in, what the hell was it? December?
It was the first main event in December.
Yeah, she won the title over Michin. Yeah, exactly. The day we graduated college, Chelsea Green won the women's U.S. title. And now you have nothing for her? 4 months later, you have nothing? What are we doing? Guys, come on. And don't get me started on the rumor that the Street Profits won't be defending at WrestleMania. Everyone's been fiending for this 5-team ladder match at WrestleMania.
That's a fake rumor. That's probably from Dave.
I don't care who it's from. The fact that it's out there and possible pisses me off. They have a match coming up against Motor City Machine Guns, but they're apparently going to be defending on the SmackDown before WrestleMania. Which, oh, what? Brendan, cut me off before I go on a completely different tirade. Take us home.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for continuing to watch the No Stipulations podcast, where we talk about one of our favorite things, that being professional wrestling. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode. See you guys.
Bye-bye.